you don't even need the pencils, you don't need the paper in order to master realism art. All you need is a kneaded eraser. So you will still need the paper and pencils, but I wanted to emphasize is that the kneaded eraser has helped me in creating beautiful details and drawings. This is because from my own experience and experimenting with drawing techniques, it's about value and light to create that depth and realism we are seeking visually. In order to learn how to shade, you need the actual tools to implement and practice the techniques for shading on your own. I'd like you to think of this as your toolbox and can be a combination of whatever you want. Paintbrushes, pencils, markers, crayons, and obviously paper as your canvas. The preference is flexible from artist to artist. Even if artists work with the same medium, individually they may prefer different paper. For me, I prefer smooth bristle as it creates that smoothness I'm looking for when shading. I also have a favorite Strathmore sketchbook, but what you want to strive for when you're looking for the right paper is you want to be able to work with your paper, not against it. After you have figured out the paper you want to work on, the number one investment you need to make is professional art pencils, which are different from regular pencils because they have different levels of hardness and softness of graphite in them. This then easily creates depth of light to your drawings without needing to press into your paper too much, which can actually erode the paper if you put too much pressure on it or rip it. Okay, so what the hell do the levels of pencils mean that make these art pencils so special? Well, the levels of the pencils indicate hardness, or another way of looking at it is darker. And then there are levels that indicate softness, which is translated to being lighter. Hardness is indicated by the letter B, while softness is indicated by the letter H. If you look at the school pencils, you will see the letters HB near the eraser end. HB pencils are essentially the middle ground in this value system. Now, you could easily just use one shade of pencil, such as an HB pencil, and just press more firmly onto your paper to create that darkness, but having multiple pencils that are different values individually then avoids the issue of straining your paper or your hand. The importance of creating value is this dictates how light or dark colors appear or in relation to each other. It doesn't matter what medium you are working with, acrylic paints, watercolor, pastels, or in this case graphite. The basic tonal shift in the value of a color communicates the light source, focal point, and depth. Most people comment how realism art is essentially copying or a replica of the live model, but the importance of mastering value, especially in realism, is it gives you control and the ability to understand and in the future to be able to manipulate any visual representation. Now what you see here is I wanted to show how using XB hardness pencil to 4H softness creates a value meter for your art. This can help you to start seeing how where the limits of one pencil ends, another one can extend the darkness to further that depth we see in detail works such as portraits or even architecture drawings. I will showcase this later in the video, but what is visually portrayed here is how the 3B hardness can go into the 4B hardness value of the pencil. This is actually how you start creating artworks that have the illusion of popping out of the paper because you are using darkness of a pencil to create depth in a 2D material. You can experiment with the values of the pencils yourself, but commonly to create realism, start out shading from the lightest shade to darkest. If you start from the darkest, say 8B or push too hard, then it is harder to go lighter. You are then forced to make your artwork very dark, but this is the benefit of using 2H to 4H pencils, and then gradually making specific areas darker depending on the value of that area. Oftentimes, artists will also skip a level in the value of the pencils. For example, they will create value in one area from XB to 4B to be able to really create that dimension with a 5B hardness in between the two. Here I am comparing the difference between an HB artist pencil with that of a regular HB pencil that you often purchase for school. The green one is the art pencil, while the black one is just a regular pencil. There doesn't seem to be big differences in these, but the school HB pencil does seem to be a little bit darker from what I can see. But essentially, both of them give the same hardness in regards to creating value in your art.